30 projections in 30 days going into the 2024 regular season for the New York Mets as we continue our month-long deep dive into the Mets 40-man roster. Today we are talking about a young starting pitcher depth piece in Jose Butto. After the Mets trade deadline sale, the Mets were able to get an extended look at Jose Butto towards the end of the season, and he was able to hold his own pretty well, posting a 3.64 earned run average, a 4.02 fielding independent pitching, striking out 21.2% of batters across 42 innings pitched. As one of the Mets' young, controllable depth options, Butto has a very sturdy and repeatable motion that allows him to apply himself to a bigger workload. While able to eat innings, Butto's 5-pitch mix is headlined by a mid-90s fastball sinker mix that tops 96, his signature gyro spinning changeup, a hard-cutting slider with RPMs over 2,500, and a slow curveball with extra spin. Butto is expected to be in the mix for the Mets' sixth starter job, entering a 26-year-old season for 2024.
Just more young depth, probably lower than past guys like McGill and Peterson we've discussed. Could have, a good spring and open some more eyes, especially now with more younger and potentially higher upside guys breathing down his neck. He will definitely get the first call before those younger guys. So again, has plenty of opportunities. You've seen some good, you've seen a lot, some good, some bad, some mediocre, better than Carlos Carrasco. So I guess that's an upgrade.
I really look at Butto as, the spot starter role. I think when you have like those unexpected double headers or just someone's unexpected scratch, things like that, that's kind of where he comes in. He makes the start. He gives you 5 innings, gives up a few runs. Nothing amazing, really. But I think just having a guy who could give you, it's not quite the level of Adrian Hauser that we talked about in that episode, but just a guy of like, give me 5 and don't just totally ruin the game and make us have to use our entire bullpen because you can't get out the second inning or third inning. That's all they're asking for him. And again, like, he's a guy that I don't anticipate making the opening day roster. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to see him as a spot starter role. And, in that role, he'll be okay. Won't be great, but he'll be just fine enough to at least make the start. And that's pretty much it.
Just see him as a rubber arm. Like, he's going to go out there. He is going to give you innings. He's not going to be perfect. He is just going to rely on the location, get the outs, do what Trevor Williams was able to do. I'd say maybe he is coming out of the bullpen at one point if they're shorthanded. Maybe he is giving you a spot start. But overall, he is just one of those sturdy pieces that can pretty much just put as much innings on his arm as possible and provide value that way. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Sometimes he hits that high velocity or something at max effort. The changeup is okay. Sometimes the location can be a little bit off, but overall, he can be a solid pitcher in a little bit of a pinch, but again, not going to be one of the frontline pieces that the Mets are going to be focusing on this year, but he definitely will get his chance. Now, as for the projections, just want to remind everybody, projections are not predictions. They are benchmarks of the player's current specific percentile outcome based on predictive data and results. For my projections, I decided to use, in my opinion, each player's 75th percentile outcome, although a majority of player projections are constructed from a player's 50th percentile outcome. I personally wanted to use a median between sustainability and upside. It also helps you identify who I am high on and who I am low on going into the season. So as for Jose Butto, 42 innings pitched, striking out 23.1% of batters, walking 8.3%. A 4.93 earned run average, a 4.87 fielding independent pitching, a 1.7 home runs per 9, with a 0.3 wins above replacement.
The innings is really close to what he had last year. Quite a big bump in ERA, and even the long ball compared to last season. I mean, that's one of the things that he did do pretty good with this year compared to the year before of keeping the ball in the ballpark. His first start, he only really made the one start in 2022, but that start was ugly. Giving up, the 7 runs and, a couple of long balls, things like that. So I think for him, it is important to keep the ball in the ballpark because he doesn't have that strikeout stuff to be a guy that like could kind of get away with that. If he's going to be like that contact manager, he is got to be, obviously like low, like not hard contact, because if he's going to be giving up home runs, he doesn't really have many other things going for him to kind of get away, like bail him out, so to speak. So he's a guy that, that is a pretty big jump for him from this year to next year. You're hoping that a guy at his age, going into the 26-year-old season, he'd be getting better, not getting worse. I think that that's going to be tough for him if he wants to be a guy who's actually ever going to be in this rotation full time or be a full-time starter anywhere. You got to see improvement. If he regresses a little bit, that just makes it really hard for him personally. And, for the Mets as a team, it kind of prioritizes you more of, okay, we need more quality starting pitching if we're going to be counting on Butto this much, and he's not going to be as effective.
Yeah, for Butto, I'd say that the home run numbers, from what I'm projecting from, of course, is just like straight up batted ball data. But, I mean, the thing about Butto is that he's such a fly ball pitcher, that he's so heavy relying on that one mistake and that thing's flying out of the ballpark. So that's kind of how I've always looked at Jose Butto. He's had that home run problem throughout the minor leagues. I mean, I kind of just see that sustaining 42 innings. I think it just stays at that same kind of workload of what the Mets are going to need from him compared to what they had last year, the depth, and of course with the distance that they were getting from starting pitching last year.
Again, the 42 innings, I think, again, could be more, like you said, rubber arm. And again, injuries are always going to determine it. This best case scenario, he's like the 7th to 8th man on the depth chart. So it would take a couple injuries to see him. Hope for less, obviously, because, again, you're hoping for help. But we live in fantasy land. So, again, 5 ERA, he doesn't have great pitches. His best pitch is his changeup, which isn't great in today's games. And like I said earlier, he would be passed up by those young guys with higher upside coming soon. But obviously, he'll get those first cracks.